An unexpected turn in a long and often treacherous journey. More than 15,000 asylum seekers have been returned to Ciudad Juarez. It's part of the Trump administration's controversial policy that makes asylum seekers wait for their immigration court hearings in Mexico. ABC7's Mauricio Casillas looks into what life is like for them as they remain in Mexico. It's a story you'll see only on ABC7.
It takes 267 steps to make it from the base of the Paso del Norte Bridge all the way to right here in the United States. It's so close, yet so far for the thousands of asylum seekers that have been returned to Mexico to wait for their day in immigration court.
Waiting and more waiting. They're not in the U.S., but at least they have a place to stay.
Para mí, que ya viví en la calle, lo que están haciendo ellos.
Karina, an asylum seeker from Guatemala, says after living in the streets, she's thankful to be in a shelter. She asked that we blur her face for fear that this interview could affect her immigration case. She says she turned herself in to Border Patrol agents back in April, was detained for a month in the El Paso area, and then sent back to Mexico.
Empezamos a llorar todos amargamente.
Karina says she and the group of migrants she was with bitterly cried when they were sent back. She fled Guatemala after she says gang members threatened to kill her children. Her 3 children and her husband are now in Los Angeles after crossing over earlier without her. But instead of being able to join them, she's stuck in Juarez.
Estar 4 o 5 meses aquí en este.
Having to wait up to 5 months in Mexico is not easy. With tears rolling down her face, she describes some of the dangers she says she experienced here in Juarez.
Me quisieron secuestrar, me quisieron matar.
She alleges people try to kidnap and kill her. At night, when she slept in the streets of Juarez, she could hear gunfire.
Are the migrants safe when they come back to Juarez? What are they afraid of?
Hijos, ahí es una historia triste.
It's a sad story, says Rogelio Pinal, human rights director for the city of Juarez. He says these migrants are targeted by smugglers. He urges them to reach out to the authorities if they feel they're in danger. But with more than 15,000 migrants having been returned to Juarez, government resources are strained. Places like Casa del Migrante, a faith-based shelter in North Juarez, can only do so much.
Les doy gracias a ellos, ¿verdad? Porque nos dan los 3 tiempos de comida.
Denia, an asylum seeker from Honduras, is thankful this shelter gives her and her son food. Her first court hearing isn't until October. She's been in Juarez since early July.
En mi ciudad se estaba secuestrando.
She says women in her hometown were being kidnapped and killed, so she fled to the U.S. to seek asylum.
And the asylum program is a scam.
The Trump administration instituted the Migrant Protection Protocols, commonly referred to as the Remain in Mexico policy, in January. But it wasn't until April that Juarez began bearing the brunt. The goal from the administration's standpoint is to stop releasing asylum seekers into the U.S. The administration fears that migrants won't show up to immigration hearings and therefore live in the U.S. and grow roots without proper documentation.
There's no one arguing that every individual that seeks asylum should be granted that benefit. Rather, we as immigration lawyers are seeking that they be given the due process opportunity to seek what the law allows.
Immigration attorney Daniel Caudillo says representing migrants in Juarez makes an already difficult job even harder.
It's an effective tool of getting attorneys to not want to represent those individuals. One, many attorneys don't want to go into Juarez and see these individuals. It's a dangerous place for U.S. citizens.
And dangerous for migrants. The U.S. State Department has issued travel warnings for Juarez due to widespread violent crime and gang activity. Karina says she'll continue fighting her case, even if it means living in dangerous conditions.
What if the judge tells you you have to go back to Guatemala?
Si me voy a regresar en mi país.
It wouldn't be easy to live without her family, she says.
Pero prefiero morir en mi país de origen que morir aquí en Juárez.
But she'd rather die in her country than in Juarez.
El sueño americano que dicen muchos ya se nos acabó a todos.
For Denia, the pursuit of the American dream is over, and she's not alone. The Juarez government estimates about 30 to 40% of these asylum seekers are willingly returning home. For the rest, places like this are their temporary home. Mauricio Casillas, ABC7.
And the Catholic Diocese of El Paso recently announced the creation of a fund that goes directly to help migrants return to Juarez. Annunciation House Director Ruben Garcia also tells ABC7 he's working on opening up a shelter in Juarez. And now exclusively on KVI.com, an interview with an immigration judge who details the challenges the Remain in Mexico policy creates for them.